Fox News, 8th of June 2023, China strikes a covert, billion-dollar agreement for a spy base in Cuba that targets the U.S., transmits a message. China has struck a covert billion-dollar agreement with Cuba to establish a listening post aimed at the United States on the island nation less than 100 miles off the coast of the continental United States. The southeastern United States, where many military bases are situated, is where Chinese intelligence services can scoop up electronic communications, according to a report published in the Wall Street Journal on Thursday. They will also be able to monitor U.S. ship traffic. According to the news report, which quotes officials with knowledge of the situation, China has agreed to pay cash-strapped Cuba several $billion to allow it to build the eavesdropping station, and the two countries had reached an agreement in principle. According to the paper, American authorities found the intelligence regarding the preparations to be convincing. According to the Wall Street Journal, U.S. authorities deemed the intelligence regarding the intended Cuban site, which was reportedly obtained in recent weeks, plausible. They claimed that the site would allow China to perform signals intelligence, or SIGINT, as it is known in the espionage community. It might involve monitoring various communications, including emails, phone conversations, and satellite transmissions. We won't make any comments regarding those particular reports. A U.S. Department of Defense official told Fox News that on a larger scale, we are highly aware of the PRC's intentions to invest in infrastructure worldwide that may serve military reasons, particularly in the Western Hemisphere. We remain convinced that we can fulfill our security obligations at home and throughout the area and will keep a careful eye on it. Later, according to Politico, which cited two top U.S. officials, China is in talks with Cuba to establish a foothold there to spy on the United States. According to Politico, the individuals, who were given anonymity to discuss a sensitive intelligence topic, claimed that China was in direct contact with Cuba about establishing a base there that would be only 100 miles from the United States. It would enable Beijing to gather signals intelligence on the southeast of America, home to several military installations and essential industries. Recent weeks have revealed evidence of the negotiations, according to the officials. John Kirby, a spokesperson for the White House National Security Council, told reporters on Thursday that the claims of a proposed China-Cuba espionage facility were inaccurate. The National Security Council refused to provide any information when asked to do so, but instead told Fox News that both reports are inaccurate. Although his office does not have information corroborating the Wall Street Journal report about an alleged Chinese listening station, Representative Carlos Gimenez, Republican Florida, who serves on the House Select Committee on the Strategic Competition between the U.S. and the Chinese Community Party, told Fox News Digital that he is not surprised. Gimenez is the only member of Congress born in Cuba. This situation has plagued the Russians in Cuba for a very long time. And to be honest, Gimenez remarked, I was astonished that it took the Chinese so long to arrive. The guards are down. Also removed is the hood. Therefore, this does not surprise me at this time, given all their global inflammatory behaviors. Gimenez told Fox News Digital that there is a need for everyone to wake up to the fact that the Chinese Communist Party is becoming more and more potent in our hemisphere. He cited the CCP's expansion into the Bahamas, their construction of communications and relay stations for their space program in South America, their control over rare earth minerals coming from that region, and the expansion of bilateral trade between China and South and Central America. He said, referring to the alleged Chinese listening post in Cuba, it's provocative and sends a message that, here we are. We're going to set up our listening stations, we have an ally 90 miles from your shore, and we're going to do whatever we want. Defense Secretary Austin, war with China over Taiwan would be devastating. According to Gimenez, it also demonstrates their growing global influence and power and their lack of fear of the United States. The claim comes as the Biden administration attempts to defuse diplomatic tensions following the Chinese spy plane scandal that flared up in February. According to reports, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who postponed a trip to China months ago due to the scandal, has rescheduled a trip to Beijing, where he may soon meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The Biden administration is not one that I support. Without a doubt, I wouldn't say I like Mr. Blinken. Therefore, while I won't criticize the efforts being made in Beijing, I sincerely doubt that anything positive will result from them, Gimenez said to Fox News Digital. I don't think it will be fruitful for the United States of America, but it might be for the Chinese Communist Party when I say it will be advantageous. The White House came under fire for dispatching 2 diplomats to Beijing this week on the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. Sarah Barron, Senior Director for China and Taiwan Affairs at the National Security Council, and Daniel Crittenbrink, Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs. After the U.S. military said a Chinese destroyer moved dangerously in front of an American warship traversing the Taiwan Strait, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and China's Defense Minister, General Li Shangfu, engaged in a verbal duel at a conference in Singapore over the weekend. U.S. provocation in the Asia-Pacific area, according to Li. Austin lamented that there was no military-to-military communication with China and that Beijing had turned down his request for a meeting with Li outside of the conference unless the United States lifted its 2018 sanctions against Li. Austin and I did shake hands during a meal in Singapore during a widely known photo op, even though there was no meaningful exchange. Gimenez agreed that as long as the United States continues to finance Taiwan, the Chinese will probably see preparations for a listening station in Cuba as justified. He further stated that the House China Select Committee intends to keep looking into the CCP's influence, militarily and through the Belts and Road initiatives, including China funding and incurring debt for other nations' infrastructure projects. He claimed that the report from the Cuban listening station added to the committee's worries. Gimenez says they are pretty combative and don't follow our regulations. They have a slight advantage over us in that they have long-term objectives for what they want to do and how they want to achieve it. We need to get there, face this challenge, and recognize that it is a threat because we are not there yet,